Hello, welcome into this mystery reading. I'm Molly, the QuantumLeapQueen. Thanks for joining me on this reading. These readings are a timeless resource for you to come utilize whenever you need some extra nourishment in your life. So trust that if you found this reading today, there is a message here for you. I'm setting the intention as always to give you the best messages that you need to hear today. And let's dive in. Let's take a look. I'm going to start with the Rainbow Tarot. And we'll get some details for you about what you're currently experiencing. So what is my friend needing to look at today? I have the Page of Cups, the Page of Swords, and the Two of Cups. Okay. Newness, freshness. I don't know if there's like a romantic connection on its way to you coming in, or perhaps this is something you're missing as far as like wanting romance. Something here. With two pages, there is an immaturity of the energy, and you notice how they're facing as well. Like the Page of Cups is facing towards the Two of Cups, like investing in a connection. And then the Page of Swords is facing away from the connection. And the swords are about the mind. The cups are about your heart, your emotions. So it's funny that there's a, what would you call this? Like a trauma bond, perhaps. There is almost, I see the energy of like an anxious attachment and an avoidant attachment. That's what I see in this. So this is either like, you know, take this on on your personal timeline as it resonates, but we could be talking about a relationship here, one that is present or one from the past. Let's get some more details, but for sure I am seeing a relationship. What else? What else does this group need to know? I have the Four of Swords and I have the Queen of Wands, the Five of Pentacles at the top of the deck. Okay, so this could have been a relationship where you really were left out in the cold. The Five of Pentacles indicates being left out in the cold. The Queen of Wands with the Four of Swords, it was like you had no other choice but to come back home to yourself and to just accept the way that things were. You definitely could have been more of the anxious attachment in this relationship, really pouring into it emotionally. And it was like your partner that was the one pulling away. And you really you weren't ready. You weren't wanting this relationship to end, but it just did. And it left you feeling like you had no other choice but to just, I don't know, be reborn in a sense. Because the Four of Swords is really making me think like you spent a lot of time coming back to acceptance and spending the time to really review the relationship and to see where you were leaking energy, where you were investing, trying to get something that no one can give you but yourself. There's something like that. But with the Queen of Wands here, I will say I do think that you have reconnected with your magic, and you're feeling a lot more centered within yourself. Oh, nice. I also have the Empress at the top of the deck. So, in Judgment, the Three of Swords, yeah, it was because of this heartbreak that you were able to come back to yourself so fully, because you had no other choice. It was like this heartbreak really did shatter you to pieces in a way, and you had to rebuild, and you had to really see what was real and what wasn't real. That takes time. That's not an overnight thing. I think you've spent a lot of time perhaps shedding layers of the old reality, who you used to be, who you used to identify as, and then really stepping into more divinity, like wholeness, integrity, sovereignty. Those are the things that you're investing much more in now versus just like putting all your eggs in one basket, for example, like into a relationship, into a person that like is acting like they don't even want you, which is really, really painful, obviously, when you're giving your heart to someone. But I see in the end, I feel like there's people here with multiple, I just see multiple timelines. You're at different stages in this journey, but whether you're still in it, or it's recently ended, or this has been years down the line. It doesn't matter. What it's saying is it's giving you the blueprint, kind of like what has happened and how this actually benefits you. I really think either you've claimed the story of victor, you could say, for sure, not playing victim, but playing victor, like taking the heartbreak, taking that pain and alchemizing it into identity now, a vibration, a frequency now, where you're blessed up because you're feeling so whole and complete. So no matter where you're at on that timeline, you can kind of see how things progress. That's what I'm seeing. Let me ask for some more details for you, some advice for you. I have the Eight of Pentacles and the Ten of Cups, nice. Oh, and the Sun at the top of the deck, nice. Truly, where you are going to get blessed up is when you're just focused on yourself, on your life, on creating your craft. Like the Eight of Pentacles is about creation, doing the work, like making something physical. Focusing on yourself. I hear that so heavily. Focusing on yourself. That's truly what's going to fill up your cup to the max. And then also bring in the opportunities, the things that really align with you. And your life's going to feel a lot lighter as you're investing more into yourself and then whatever it is that your soul, your intuition, your heart tells you to create in the world. I think creation is a very important thing for you. I'm hearing you're an artist. Like you need to just keep tapping into that artistic ability. Designing life the way that you desire it to be, that's kind of what life is asking you to do now. To play with it, but like to stay in your own lane, to stay in your own universe, not trying to manipulate or control anything outside you, but simply really focusing on yourself and being too busy in your own business to care about what anyone else is doing or to judge anyone else based on what they're doing. It's just, I see all the focus is back to you, and I think that's where you start to really shine bright because your energy is very powerful. What else? What other advice can I tell this group? I have the Nine of Pentacles and the Ace of Pentacles. Give it time for this garden to flourish, you could say. I really think that a lot of things are pure potential now, but you have a lot of visions when it comes to what you want to create, how you want your life to feel, what you want to be doing in every day. All the fine little details like that. Give yourself grace and space to just let it come to you. You don't need to force an outcome. You can be so open to how things come, but meanwhile, you're still building towards that vision you're seeing. You're still building towards it, but you're so open to all possibilities coming in. And I want to say too, like really let your intuition guide you. Really practice with your intuition. Ask it basic things. Should I do this? Should I buy this? What do you think of this? Is this a good idea? Seriously, be checking in with yourself and then see how you feel about it. And then make your decision based on that. I think that's really going to help to streamline the opportunities to you, the things you're wanting, that your soul's really aligned with. Those things will come into you faster, quicker, as you are focusing on that relationship with you and that voice within. That's what I hear. Okay, I think that's good from the tarot. Let's move on to some oracle messages. I'm going to start with the Moonology deck. I always have these decks listed below in the description for anyone wondering. And what's the best message for this group from this deck? Take time to breathe. The dismenting moon. disseminating moon. I think I butchered that, but anyway, take time out to breathe. Take time to breathe out. Take time to breathe out. Take time to breathe out. So I think a big thing is like knowing that the weight of the world is not on your shoulders. I think you've been feeling that, or maybe that's like a default identity that you have had, that the world's on your shoulders, but it's really important that you take that weight off your shoulders. And that's what the breathing out is signifying to me, to tell you. Like allowing yourself that space to just be, to be held, to just exist, and not feeling like you can't let your guard down because then the world falls apart. You could have experienced that a lot in your life, you going into that role of leadership or whatever it looks like, where you feel like you have a lot of responsibility on your plate. But honestly, I think this is a chapter where you start to let that go more and more, and you start to not care about things as much, or like you're not afraid to ask for help, or whatever it looks like, where you're taking less on your plate, you're taking things off your plate, and you're allowing yourself to just exist without the guilt of existing or of resting. You don't always need to be productive and making the next thing happen. And in fact, I think that's where a lot of your inspiration is going to come from, when you allow yourself to actually rest without an agenda. I think that's when you're going to start to get more downloads, more things coming through, because you're actually receiving now. You're and not just like pushing forward all the time. So I hope that helps. I hope that is bringing you some clarity and some direction. And it can be difficult, because honestly, that's medicine I need to hear too, because it's like I have like 5 or 6 planets in Capricorn, and I have a lot of energy that likes to do things a lot. And if I don't do things all the time, I feel like behind, or that I'm not living up to my fullest potential, which is like the most scary thing for me. But it's not true, and I've had to really look at myself to relax. So hopefully you're feeling that too. That you can relax, and that actually it's very necessary for you and your energy. Okay, let's move on. I'm gonna pull from the I Create My Reality deck. Best message. This group from this deck. Thank you. I am all that I am. I love the space in the palms. That's beautiful. It says, I live my life with my heart wide open. To truly connect with life, with people and experiences, I must have a wide open heart that allows me to give my entire self to each moment. Only in this way will I be filled with richness and beauty of, only in this way will I will be filled with the richness and beauty of every small being and occurrence. Yeah. Like really slowing down and appreciating the small, simple things in life. That is like the best. And living heart wide open can be difficult when you've been betrayed in the past, but honestly, I feel like the more a person gets to know themselves, the more that you're doing it for you. Like you're living with your heart wide open because you know your heart, you know yourself, you know your boundaries. And when people, let's say, betray you, when they don't follow through, or like whatever, where you feel dishonored in your heart and in your emotions and your, character, you don't take it as personally, and you don't regret like loving or giving of yourself, like because you're so okay with like whatever happens, because you've done the work to cultivate your inner home. Like, you are your inner home. And so, like, people are going to come and go, and maybe sometimes things happen where you don't expect, you know, to either like lose a relationship, to lose a friend, to lose a job, whatever. It's like, no matter what happens, you know you're good with you, and you don't regret living with an open heart. I think people regret when they don't live with an open heart, when they're pulling back, because then they're operating more from fear, which is ego. So I think that's a good reminder to you too. Don't shut down. In fact, this is about opening yourself up, not so you're available for more betrayal or for people to take advantage of you, but because you refuse to let people from the past dictate how you live your life now. You take back your power fully, and you choose to live your life fully through your heart, through your soul. And then when people do that, when people live like that, then that is the example and inspires others to do the same. Okay, let's move on. I'm going to pull from the Sacred Symbols deck next. Best message for my friend from this group. Okay. Death. Wow. This is 36 with death, and it's a rose with a skull. I'm curious to say what it's going to say, or to hear what it's going to say. Death, the noticeable end of a cycle or situation, grieving or mourning a loss in order to heal. It is time to watch the old way leave itself in the past. Allow feelings of grief or sadness to move through you with ease. Meditate on this when you want to honor an ending, a loss, or letting go in your life with grace. Without death, there is no life, and vice versa. Wow. And then the symbol is the skull and the rose. The skull and the rose symbolize that all is sacred in life and death. Yeah, so you really could be... Someone needs to hear this here, but the ignoring or the dismissal of the hard feelings because you don't think you should be feeling them anymore, whatever the story is, where you're not allowing yourself to really address what's authentically going on in your emotional ocean. It's very important that you just allow the space and time for you to heal, to let those emotions out. Emotions are simply energy in motion, and they are just as much as part of life as anything. So there are specific tools you can use to help yourself to grieve. If you feel like you have lingering feelings or you're still processing, let's say it was this breakup, this split, it's important that you give yourself the time, the space, and the grace to go through and just allow yourself to open up your heart to really feeling what's going on underneath the surface. And like, for example, tools I've used on myself and with my clients, healing from heartbreak, is to write down something you would like to say to that person. Like when I was going through my heartbreak, I wrote, you did this and this and this, and I was so disappointed. And honestly, that was really effed up, and F you for doing that. And I just went off. I truly did not hold anything back. I just really let out my feelings, and I was crying, and it was a whole thing. But I tell you what, after that, I felt lighter. Of course, I'm not sending this to that person or anything like that, but it was for my own processing. Same with if you just have anger still, sadness, which is, under anger, then it's important that you express that. You can, if you're in the car alone, screaming in the car, screaming underwater, punching a pillow, you need to move the energy and not judge yourself for the expression of the energy. Because guess what? As life, as death, as above, so below, we need to have The quote unquote negative, messy, ugly emotions, they're just as important as the happy go lucky, amazing emotions. They're just as important. So you need to honor the whole circle of life and express them without judgment. Okay. Okay, lastly, I'm going to pull from the Animal Oracle. What's the best message for this group from this deck? Thank you. Evolve into your complexity. That's exactly what you're doing. Accepting all of you. Let's read about it. This is number 3. Evolve into your complexity with the octopus. Octopus is a shapeshifter, able to change the color and texture of her skin to camouflage her appearance. She is an excellent escape artist and exceptionally intelligent. Octopus evolved into her greatness, her profound complexity, through all the difficulties she's endured. Her need to survive and endure every situation that caused her fear and suffering is literally what evolved her into the magnificent creature she currently is. Octopus's medicine teaches us about the difficult journey towards the evolution of our highest self, who is our true self. This card represents the moment of sprouting, the seed ripening, open to blossom into what it has always been destined to become. This may not be an easy or comfortable moment. The fortitude of octopus is needed here. As scary situations, self-doubt, and challenges approach, stand strong in the inner knowing that difficult moments are the catalyst for evolution. See the test, and even if you are shaking, yell to the world, I will keep going. See the limiting beliefs on your knees, crying and screaming, I will still keep going. See the loss of something special with a shattered heart and profess, I will keep going. All ventures will be faced with limitations, difficulties, and tests. Instead of resisting the inevitable hardships, accept them for what they are, catalysts for growth into a much more complex and profound version of yourself. When a mother resists the pain of childbirth, the labor takes much longer. When the mother surrenders and allows the pain to move through her, the birth progresses much faster. Once you accept the universal law that all beings suffer for growth, you will pass through suffering more quickly. Octopus's medicine asks you to have steadfast endurance in moments of difficulties and to understand you are rapidly evolving, and this is just a test in the school of life. Yeah, I think that's exactly where you're at. Not an easy moment, but also like this will be the moment, like this will be the chapter you come back to and look and you're like, wow, I really was the one that held myself and got myself through that. And then look at these beautiful things that came from that. I know, like for myself, like going through my breakup was the most painful thing I had ever been through in my life thus far. But it opened up like so many doors of opportunities that I wouldn't have gone had I remained in a lukewarm relationship. Like I thought it was the worst thing at the time, and it ended up being like the best thing ever. Like ever. Yeah, I like literally moved out of the country. I was living in the US. I grew up in Minnesota, and then my intuition actually was the one that told me to like get ready to move. And so I moved to Mexico, Playa del Carmen, Mexico. My plan was to just like keep traveling around, but I fell in love with Playa, and now my life here is fantastic. And it's been like 3 years now that I've been coming back and forth to Mexico, and I didn't have like any friends when I was leaving the US, like I can count like one close girlfriend that I still remain in contact with because she's cool as hell. But I could not connect with anyone, and I felt very out of place. And when I moved here, it was like, oh my God, I made so many more friendships than I ever had in my entire life, like combined. And I have like such an amazing community here, and like-minded people and souls. And it was like, it's like now I have my dream life. Like if I could tell my 10-year-old self, like, this is the life you're living at 30, she would be blown away. She would like think it's magic, and it is magic. It's literally magic. So trust yourself, trust your intuition, and trust like what it's telling you truly, even if it doesn't make sense. It didn't make logical sense for me to just sell all my stuff and leave the country, but intuitively, that's what I had to do in order to find the life that fills up my soul. So that is your message, is to keep listening to yourself and to know that your intuition is the highest form of universal intelligence, and that you have full permission to put it into the driver's seat of your life. So that includes this reading. Thank you guys for joining, and always come on back whenever you need more readings. You can like and comment how this resonated for you, and subscribe, and I have my link below for my offerings. So we'll see you guys on the next reading. Bye.